All right. Cool. Back in business. Um, it's kind of late. Well, 11:38, but again, I've been back to the evening work hours because that seems to be the time I'm most productive and it's most quiet. So we are going to see if we can turn out a little bit more progress to Witch of Endor so we can get this game to the point where I could just publish it, toss it out to the wolves, and yeah, just get that unfinished project off my list. Okay, so what's on the list? What do I want to do here? Uh, right now the game does not have a main menu, no introduction, intro cinematic cutscene, and no tutorial. The original game had tutorials, but it was terrible. It was made through a bunch of tombstones that are scattered all over the map, and then you had to walk up to it, you have to hit it, and then you had to read a wall of text, and there was no way to really like practice it. So we're gonna swap out the system to a bit of a different one. We're gonna make sure that there is a tutorial in the beginning before the gameplay section. It is gonna be executed through a little confined tomb where the player has to perform a bunch of steps in order to learn the mechanics. And then, of course, we'll include a skip option if they really want to skip it. But for the time being, let's get um, something basic going on. We need to make a main menu, and the main menu was made in such a way where it seamlessly flowed into the intro cinematic, the little comic book cinematic, which unfortunately I had to scrap out of um, the first version of the game because it was made with Game Maker Studio and their animation sequencer was stupid. It did not keep up with the frame rate of like whatever frame rate the game was running at. So what happened is that the intro cinematic and the music, the sound, was falling out of sync with one another. So as soon as I uploaded it to the web, it was no longer synchronized and it just sucked. So I had to scrap it out, unfortunately. Hopefully, this time I will be able to keep it. And hopefully, Godot Engine will do me better. So, first of all, let's go take a look. So interesting fact about this. I don't have the original project, but I think I mentioned this before. I managed to go to the website, the Retroactive Gamers website, where the game used to be uploaded. And I quite literally spent a few minutes downloading every single raw resource from the file explorer on the website. And I've been able to fetch every asset that there was as it was exported by the engine. So pretty much majority of this stuff is original asset work. Now, intro cinematic is something that I did take out. I have the pan shot, lightning strike flash. I'm not sure why this is a separate file. And then intro frames. Okay, so I'm gonna need to get these shots out into the engine folder, render the stuff out, and then we'll rebuild the cinematic from there. Oh yeah, look at that. Some of the cheating that I've done here by using a outline modifier. Okay, so this is the main menu, and then it gets into this. I might actually want to increase the visibility or the brightness here. I'm gonna make a copy. Control U. Whoops. Nope. Control L. Just gonna increase the brightness. And then Control U. Get more saturation. So the way the game worked is that there's a menu to the side. You click Start, and this is just the first frame of the cinematic, which starts playing. Okay. Of course, we play it as ourselves, which is no longer going to be as ourselves, but the cinematic is still cool, so I'm going to keep it. Okay. I'm going to need to enable everything because we're going to be rendering this out. Man. Okay. I am going to export layers. Okay. This dimension is okay. JPEGs, PNGs, I guess PNGs are okay. Select this, ignore invisible layers, and we're gonna set this to export Witch of Endor, which technically the game is now going to be called Witch Funk instead of Witch of Endor, mainly because for the soundtrack, the action soundtrack, I wanted to write a bunch of funk music, dance funk beats, and that would give it a bit more of a boppy type feel, because before it was a bit more breakbeat type ambient music with some light synths, which wasn't that great in comparison. It was okay for itself. Okay, intro frames or intro comic. Okay, here goes nothing. I have too many unfinished projects, man. And the annoying part is that there are quite a lot of unfinished projects which are done enough to go through them and wrap them up. Okay, intro frames. Intro frames, I opened this twice. Okay, so this is the pan shot. It kind of goes like this. Engine sprites. Yes. Intro comic. And lightning strike. What's this? Oh, that's just white. Okay, sure. That's, I mean, do we have to? I think you just use a color rect for this. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. Now, besides that, I should have music, the original music. Comic intro. Okay, so a bunch of dramatic stuff. Animation, no, audio, stream player. Okay. We're going to make sure it's a texture rect so that it can stretch to the size of the game, which means this stuff has to be a canvas layer. Change type. Frames. Pop this up here. Intro comic. Just checking to make sure I haven't already exported them before. It has been a while. Nope, doesn't seem like it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is level. Yeah, sure, we'll just save it over here. Okay. And what else? We're supposed to have buttons here. Technically, the only thing we're supposed to have here is just start game button. Okay. Man, I still remember the nightmare of trying to do responsive user interface in Game Maker Studio. Whew. So glad Godot Engine does it for me. Okay. So, start. Attach a script. Create. Button down. Now, one particular difference that we're going to have here as opposed to the original is that when the original game was made, the players selected themselves here in the main menu. So they clicked Start Game, and then each player pressed Start or Enter on the keyboard, which told the game how many players are playing, and of course up to 4 players on the same screen can play this. Now, the way we're going to handle this time is that the players will play Start, the intro cinematic will play, and then when the cinematic is done, the players appear in a little tomb, like a crypt. In that crypt, there are 4 characters lying on the ground. There are buttons corresponding to the controller buttons X, Y, A, and B. So X, Y, A, and B, and then the player who wants to play as which character just has to press that button. And for the keyboard, it's going to do the same exact thing. It's just X, Y, A, and B, except instead of pressing it on the controller, you press it on the keyboard. So you choose a character that way. After that, the input mapping gets assigned, and that's it. Bob's your uncle. We're good to go. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this animation. Intro cutscene. We're going to add audio playback. It is going to play the same exact thing. We are gonna need to make this disappear. So I guess we can just do that with a tween. Tween property. The property will be on the VBox container. Property name. Modulate alpha. The final value is 0.0. Over the course of, what, I think 3 seconds? Because this is 3 seconds right here. Sure. Okay, and then for the time being, I'm gonna mark this scene as the main scene so that... Wait, what? Why is there... Oh, that's a favorite. That's interesting. There's a favorites. Oh, they've added a favorites tab. Oh, this is awesome. Hold on a second. Hold your horses. That's perfect. Hell yeah. Objects and then scripts. That's perfect. Man, I'm always getting lost looking for the right folders. Even if I color code them. I don't know. Maybe I'm colorblind or some shit. I can never find them. Okay, good. So what do I need? I'm gonna mark this scene as the main scene. Set as main scene. Hello? Am I stupid? Oh, wait, it's already... Hold on a sec. Why do we have two main menus? Oh, main game. Excuse me. That's why, because it was already set as a main scene. Yeah, it is late, so, you know, my brain is not quite braining right now. Plus, I just came back from like a 7.5 kilometer walk. So, yeah. All right. There we go. Let's do 2. We're going to disable the button. Okay, and then we're going to tell the animation player to play intro cutscene. Uh-huh. Interesting. Right, the whole animation is 1 second long. Okay. How long is this? This is not telling me how long it is. This is 207 seconds. 206. There we go. All right. So we're gonna do color rect because we have a lightning flash. Lightning. We're gonna make sure that it does not block the mouse. And I'm gonna do this. As a matter of fact, we could just add it to the animation right away. And then right there. Flashbang. There we go. First thing the game does is flashbang you. Okay, so at this point, we're gonna need to take the frame within frames. And then we need to assign a new one. And now all we have to do is go through the intro cinematic, set the frames. Okay, then we have characters speaking their spoken stuff. I don't have the dialogue written because I quite literally just cobbled it together on the spot because this was a game jam game. So I guess we're just gonna recreate the frames first. actually just gonna place these right now. This art style, by the way, reminds me of the old Humongous Entertainment video games, like Pajama Sam and Freddy Fish. It's got that low resolution, pixelated, but not quite pixel art artwork. Okay, so the next frame is supposed to be pointing to the house. I think right here is when we reveal this. It's a little squished, I'm not sure why. I think it might have been squished for compression purposes. Oh, you know what? No, it was squished because I told the texture rect to squish it. Okay, keep size, scale. No, keep. There we go. Accept. Fit width. Ignore size. Keep aspect. Okay, fit height. Let's do this. Okay, we need to record the position. So somewhere right here, we need to get this to pan upwards here. Wait, size? We technically do need size, but... Oh, hold on a sec. Yeah, I didn't read the first property here is size. Whoops, okay. Do that. Now, if we might want to zoom in onto this thing, so I think what we're going to do is set the pivot point to be right there. And then... Okay, right there. So there's a filter being applied onto the frames, which makes the whole thing switch to a different shot. So we're gonna place a size right here, and then starting from here to here, maybe right there, we're gonna tell it to scale up just a little bit. Okay. Okay, except we want to scale it up proportionally. That is scale. Oh, okay, interesting. So size and scale are two different settings now, which I think that's what it was always. Okay, so one more time. So we don't need size then. We need scale. And then here, place the keyframe. And we'll make it slowly pan towards this. Okay, now in terms of these frames, we're just gonna evenly distribute them. Okay, good. And then right there, this is where we're gonna hide this pan shot. And then we're gonna set the frames to the next frame right after. It's supposed to be this one. Okay, you need to get the shortcuts for this. Pretty sure on that drum roll it's supposed to switch to the frame. Yeah, right there. Nice. Okay, so there's a thunder roll right here. And something that I did here is overlay. This was the lightning silhouette overlay, and this was on top. Vishal, good day. I was wondering when my regular gang is. I'm a little out of the standard hours of streaming. There we go. So we're going to set this here. And the way this is going to work is we're going to modulate it to have no visibility here. Okay. here it is going to increase. It's going to be instant though. And then we'll just duplicate this. Interesting. The duplicate no longer goes to the place with the marker. It's weird. Okay. I'm going to do this. We're going to set this to 56 even, like this. Oh. Nice. And then, of course, it's supposed to reveal the frame with the characters in place. Except it doesn't seem to quite line up. Oh, actually, no, I think that's just the way I drew the silhouettes. Yes, okay, that's fine. Okay, the rest of it I'm pretty sure is fairly straightforward. It's literally just frames. There is another lightning effect when the witch face gets revealed. But we already know what to do then. We'll just reuse the same one. Okay. I'm not too sure about the timing here yet. We'll have to see. Okay. Pretty sure this shot is supposed to zoom in slowly. Okay. There we go, right there. This is where the outside shot's supposed to come in. Hmm. Could have sworn there was a version of this shot, but with characters looking around. We heard the sound. Witch reveal. Face obscured. Oh. I think we are missing something. We're missing the witch face. Why are we missing the witch face? Let's look for it. I don't think it's here. Unless it was left disabled. Oh, there it is. Intro frame 020. It is right there. Except it's not. Oh, hold on. Do we have two with the same name? I think we do. Yeah, so it got overwritten. Dang it. Which means we should double check if there's anything else missing. Doesn't seem like it. Actually, a couple of frames are missing. Well, 20, 21, 22. This is 23. 24. Now, art is awesome. It has unique style to it. Thank you. This this whole game was for a 3-day game jam, and this entire comic sequence took me an entire day and a half. So this was like half the allotted time. That was the dumbest decision, but I had to do it so I could learn from it. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so I just need to re-export this. So export layers. PNG, ignore invisible. Sprites. Control comic, and we'll just say export it here. All right. Select the document. So I'm gonna see if I can get these games turned out and uploaded to Steam while I have an open window, because my main projects are just occupied with only the stuff that I can do, which is just a bit of 3D modeling, but predominantly it's just script writing. So Vishal, if you recall the other project, which is Disposable Ink, when you play as a little robot tossing crates into the abyss, I'm gonna finish that project as well and get it uploaded. But I'm gonna turn that into a bit more of a story-based one. Okay. Okay, so here we'll be doing this. This one. I feel like I should have a version of the sprite with the characters standing in that area. Old assets. Okay, here we go. These are the texture pages. No, it doesn't seem like I missed anything. Dreadtail's also made a lot of progress. Recently, only 3D modeling really. Right now, Dimitar's working on some stuff for fences and brick walls. Antoine's pushing out a couple of smaller props. and I'm just focusing on the text stuff. Okay, so I think we need an extra frame here. I'm going to reuse this frame. Okay, this is going to be intro frame. Let's leave it here for the time being, where it's supposed to be. So between 12 and 13, so we're going to do 12.5. Okay. Hmm. Need to sample the colors. So we got black, this. I might not want to paint on this layer explicitly. Okay. Get my pen. Pen is not connected. Come on. There we go. How tall are these guys? About this tall. Need to make them stand out though. Oh, I'm using the wrong brush. Actually, let me make a quick pixelated ink brush. I'm just going to use this preset and apply sharpness. Nice. So I can control the pressure now. And we're going to call it, whoops. We're going to save a new brush preset. This is Pixel Ink. There we go. A nice brush. Cool. So now we have Pixel Ink. I'm going to take that and then toss it into the pixel art. Nice. Oh. Okay, come on, dude. No anti-aliasing. No growth. Looks like my pen is configured to act like stupid. Hold on a sec. This is supposed to be right click. That is supposed to be middle click. Thank you. Nice. We have a hole. There we go. Maybe we can flip this. Not like that. Okay, come on. Ah, yeah, we'd have to swap the colors. Okay. Just need to remind myself what the proportions look like. Oh. Shall we pick nearest neighbor? We're also supposed to cast a shadow. We'll just do that on a separate layer. Okay, I need to restart Krita because I plugged the tablet after I launched Krita, which means it's not really driving or writing on the proper graphics driver, graphics tablet driver. Okay, there we go. Okay, nice. It's a little bit better. And there's all my layers. Okay. that's a bit better. Mm-hmm. It's not a whole lot of shadow here. Okay, cool. Okay. There. I don't want them being on the same level. Just improve that overlap too. There we go. The frames do get quite a bit of time, but there's also little text boxes that's supposed to appear. So the time accounts for users, players reading them. There shouldn't really be that much text. I might also want to... Oh man. I might want to put a royal seal on this note, because that will act as the point that attracted the character's attention. Because before it was like, huh, and then let me just grab this random paper, which there's absolutely no reason why he should be. So we are going to change that. We're going to give the player a reason to do that. And we can just hide all of these. And this is going to be a rare case where we're actually using a different color. Be a nice crimson color. Go. And then maybe we can do a ribbon. We all tattered. Okay. That's 14. 15. So before there was some gay ass poem about uh the witch, which in retrospect is just ugh, cringe. So we're going to instead make this a letter of exile. where the witch was exiled into the fringes. And this is going to be that letter. At least we can put a little bit of useful exposition. 15. Oh yeah, there was also this awkward solution where the witch said something to complete the sentence that the character was saying. And the character is like, huh, did you say something? And then he's like, no. And then it's stupid. So we're gonna switch that up as well. Again, probably the best I could come up with in the span of a day. Um, in considering the limited time frame. But I think what we're gonna do here is instead we're gonna have the character read the letter, but then we're gonna switch to a different view, maybe one from behind the letter, looking onto the character as they read the the name of the exiled person, and then as soon as the main character reads that name, they will turn around to try to warn the other character that we need to get out of here, and then bam, we're gonna just switch this, and then this, and then we'll do that, so we can bypass a couple of these pointless frames. As a matter of fact, I could make purpose of this frame. Okay. I might have to add something here. So here, and then where's the other frame? Hey, this one. I'm going to change this a little bit. The nose proportion is just out of this world. Need to make it look like teeth. Okay, let's try this. Actually, Okay, I don't want anti-aliasing, man. Come on. There we go. That's what I want. More or less. Okay. Maybe we can vary up the drapes, the drip a little bit. Like something's got to change here. Again, was working on a limited time frame, so couldn't just make a unique frame for everything. Now that we're here, I can afford a little bit of extra motion. So we're going to have this thing shift a little bit to the left because that's where the character is turning. And then maybe I'm also going to do this. There we go. So now there's enough motion to make it not look like I just copy pasted the same frame. Perfect. Might have to also put some sound effects. I'm just listening to the sound, the music. God damn, that's a long ass cutscene. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're going to do this. And then right here, that's this frame. Okay, this right here, we have this. And then we do that lightning effect thing again. So we have the where lightning, this one. Okay, so I'll take that node. We're gonna give it another keyframe. Just make sure that it has a keyframe in the beginning. Okay, here. There we go. And then we're actually going to make it swap the texture here because it's technically hidden behind another object. And we're going to do this. So this frame is 181,433. So we're going to set this to be 181,2. This frame, it will be visible. We'll hold and then dissipate. Probably can hold it for longer. So 3, 5. Or not hold it, but reveal it. Okay. And it started raining outside too. Ooh, spooky. Spooky dooky. Okay. What is this? This is the point. A couple of frames where they get sucked in. We are missing, I think, a frame where maybe she can, I don't know, like knock the staff on the ground. Maybe put a sound effect to that. Let's see. Just gonna improvise something here. Okay, closed loop. Come on. Ow. Okay. Nice long nails. What do I want to blah, 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 excuse me. Why do I want to move out of Canada? Cost of living, cost of housing, rent, um, government retroactively making businesses not want to do business in Canada, which means less stuff for us, less work for us, less opportunities. Um, just it's just too expensive. I think that's one of the biggest issues. It's just plain too expensive. I could put up with a lot of social stuff, but it's just too damn expensive to put up with it. So, nah, you know, where do you want to move? Right now I'm mainly eyeing Georgia in Europe because they have a 1% small business income tax. Which, you know what? If I want to work on my games, that is just bloody perfect. Where, as opposed to, Canada, where we pay 45 to 55% tax. Lovely. And even then, if the country was visibly improving, I would understand. But it's not. It's not. Do you have any connections there? I don't, but I have connections in the um nearby countries. Mainly my family is still in Europe, in Belarus. So, kind of want to see them. If I do get pretty good traction with my projects or my work, then USA is honestly probably the top choice. USA is kind of expensive too. Mainly you have to have enough for private healthcare. I want to make this shot look a little bit more badass. Let's see if we can do something here. Oh yeah, there we go. Do you think there will be an improvement over Canada? Oh wait, hold on a second. The freaking heart is occupying. Hold on a second. I need to type in a bunch of gibberish in order for me to see your comment. You think the States is an improvement over Canada right now? It's it's an improvement in certain key areas. Um, so the whole immigration deportation thing. I'm honestly all on the side of ICE and all on the side of the just regular citizens. The imported voter base is not really helping, and that's basically all it is. Um, California right now is facing a pretty dangerous point because their census determines how many seats they have and how much voting power they have in the parliament, and they've been counting everybody. So there's basically, the point of imported voter base kind of stands true, at least to a certain degree there. So they're losing that. That's gonna be end of that free ride. Um, they know their rights, right to bear arms, right to protect your domicile. All of that is something I wish Canada had, because if you look at the Canadian crime map, it is out of fucking control. People are doing home invasions like it's a candy shop, and people in those homes are afraid to defend themselves because they will be prosecuted for doing so. So I don't think any one country is like an ultimate paradise to live in. There's going to be trade offs everywhere. Yeah, as it stands right now, if I were to stay in Canada, I think Alberta would be the top choice. Absolute top choice. As a matter of fact, if we can't really do anything about selling the house, because that's been going like absolute terrible, terrible process. Um, I might even have to maybe look for something in Alberta for myself. Okay. Go. Shall we do like a nice nose? Okay. Two, three, four. It's kind of a mangled hand. Sounds like the dude did not like my answer. Okay. Where's that light up? There we go. Jeez. That is grody. Hmm. I gotta ease up on these pixels on the dark side. interesting thing about Canadians, by the way, any Canadian who's earned any modicum of reasonable amount of money has left Canada. That is that's just something that I've seen firsthand. A lot of our acquaintances who managed to get into good money left Canada because there's no future in Canada. Like it or not, be salty about it however you want, but Canada's economically a dead end. Like we're just lucky that the whatever businesses are still here have decided to stay. That that is also another reason why I want to leave Canada. This is just a failed failed liberal experiment. The only way it's going to be out of it is if conservatives actually win and start focusing on improving and making Canada enticeful to businesses to return and to build, which kind of means removing a lot of red tape. Okay. Need to make these fingers feel more skinny. Does this stylistically fit the previous frames? Hmm. So the background was darker. Background was actually black, as a matter of fact. Yeesh. Okay. Fill bucket. Gotta use multiple layers? No? Okay. Okay. just join these two layers together. We got to be selective as to where we place this highlight. Okay, let's get this exported. It's going to be 22.2. Oh, okay, can't do that there. Hmm. Hello? We can update? I could do another lightning thing here. Lightning effect. creepy. Okay, there we go. Feel like we should export it like this with a bit of a ghostly image of the previous frame in there. Okay, so this is 2, 2, let's do 2, 3. Okay. Can we click play? No? I think the engine bugged out. Hold on a sec. Maybe it was stuck importing the new image. Okay, so that right there. Then we're gonna set the second frame. Just this texture. And then I think we might be able to just duplicate this. Maybe copy. Okay, that seems to be switching a little too soon. this one we can hold a little bit less. This thing really does not like me doing anything while this is playing. Okay. And then maybe we could do kind of a cheap one. So we'll have a sound of a staff being hit on the ground. Right here. Hmm. I think maybe I want a bit more of an extreme angle here. think to communicate speed, we can do distorted streaks. Something like this. I don't know if this will read very well. Whoops. Okay. Actually, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm only gonna have the stick be the one with the brighter pixels. Also, just realized we were painting in half transparency. Okay, there we go. We'll just use this for now. $22.3. Nope, already have it. There we go. This is why you need to do a board. The storyboard. So it's going to turn to white, and then the level will transition to the main level, and the white will fade into the gameplay. We also probably need to implement some zooms. This right there. Here we're gonna reuse lighting. I guess 1 second. Might not be so bad. Maybe half a second. This is going to be white. Okay, and then we'll switch to the next level and have the white screen there, transition out of it. Okay, we are missing some middle stuff. Just gonna save this. Text boxes. Okay. If it's dragging too long, it probably means there's some text dialogue that needs to take place there. We definitely need to split this up. Maybe one more shot from the side, and then we'll have a shot from behind the paper. Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. So that still needs a bit more work. Couple of extra frames here. I don't know if I have any extra frames I could use here. No, doesn't seem like it. Could I maybe slap something together? I also forgot that I'm supposed to be using outlines. Okay. Okay, it's been literally many years since I've drawn the first set of characters. I'm hoping we're gonna fit within the style here. Maybe, so far. This post makes it look like he's reading so intently. Okay. 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 I believe the character will be facing away from the light source, so this would be on that side. Oh yeah, I think that work. Hmm. Okay, is there a way I can make this framed better? Maybe like this. Whoop. Well, that might actually work. The shadow from the window going straight through the gaze. Hmm. That could actually work. We are dealing with the witch here, so This could be a cross, kind of a symbolic image. Actually, I could do some funky stuff here with perspective. I think that would be good. What game jam are you participating? This is not for a game jam, at least not anymore. This was from a game jam from like years and years ago. Before COVID, I think, like 2018, late or mid 2019. So this is like post, after the fact. I'm just remaking the game so I can publish it to Steam. Okay, so here's the idea I've got. We're going to first export this. Okay, so this is reading background. I'm not gonna bother with numbering. And then this is the reading character. Now we're gonna do a little bit of a panorama parallax effect. Okay, so we have frames. Let's duplicate this. Frames 2, sure. Okay. Yes, okay. And then frames is here, is gonna receive the background. Okay, now frames 2 will have keyframe. Can I move this? I cannot. That's kind of a shame. Okay, so just gonna make sure that there is no value here. So clear 0. We don't need a value from the beginning. Okay. So which event or DreadTales Child of Ether sequence of release? Are you looking at the graph from the website? Because right now we're in a bit of a turmoil in terms of where to go next and the move and everything. So I'm just kind of prioritizing the smaller projects that I can churn out in a quicker succession. The larger projects right now, which is DreadTale and Child of Ether, those ones have to have a whole bunch of script work done on them, story based. And that's what I'm doing right now while all of my gear is packed up. Okay. Is there a keyboard shortcut for jumping to the keyframe? Go to the next keyframe. Shift Alt D, Shift Alt A. Shift Alt D. There we go. That's perfect. Okay. So I'm actually considering that maybe here we should call this frames single. And then I think we should just do this. Copy, copy. Yes. So frame single, we're not going to touch. We're just going to do this here. Paste. Because we're getting into some multi-layer stuff. So I think I'm just going to do control node and then give these particular frames their own unique nodes. It might be easier than me messing around with texture setting and resetting there. Reading frame. Okay. So here, pick it up. And then somewhere here, we're going to toggle on visibility. This one's going to be visible. Okay. This has to be the background. And we actually need to scale it up just a touch. 0.3 maybe. 0.2. 1.1. We don't need too much. Interesting. Ah, right. We had a keyframe here that changed the contents. Don't need to do that anymore. Okay, so reading, this gets toggled. And then as of this point, we're gonna animate the position. Like this. And then we're gonna take this character, char. This is gonna have a position here. And then we'll end here. Shift Alt A. Move them here. There we go. Yeah, but he's moving in the same direction. We need the opposite. There we go. That's what we want. Okay, that's good. So in that case, the next frame is going to be looking from behind the note at the character. So I don't remember if I had a full beard or just the goatee for this character. What was it? Hold on a sec. I think it was the full beard. Yes, okay. Just the goatee magically appearing and disappearing from frame to frame. It's one of the superpowers. The ear has to be a bit lower from this shot because we're looking at them from below. It's kind of a similar shot too. Okay. think the proportions are a little too cartoonified. It's a bit smaller. Shoulders a bit wider. I feel like we would see a bit more of this. Again, this is a view from the bottom, so we should be able to see more of the shin, the plane. Might even have to hide the ears. Also, I think the face is a bit more rounded in this one. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, sure. Now, the second part is the second plane, which would be the paper. Okay, we'll adjust the position in the software. Okay. Mm-hmm. is that break? Oh, there isn't one. I know why I'm trying to stay within the lines. There's more hair that needs to be filled. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we'll do this. We do need a background of some kind, which maybe we'll just borrow that color. Primarily just going to try to get some framing. Get some leading lines. Nice. Okay. So in this case, there's actually going to be 3 layers. See, I'm getting a little ballsy here. All right. So reading front shot. Now we have to have a separate folder. Background. Char. paper. Okay. This is really cool, the fact that you can just drag and drop the nodes. Let's get this full rect, perfectly lined up. I need to remove the scale, or reset it. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, there we go. This can be visible. Keyframe. Duplicate, set this to 0, so it starts invisible. Here, it will become visible. And now from this point, we need to animate the scaling. I don't know if we can place multiple keyframes like this. We can. Holy cow. Nice. Okay. Now, the background will scale the least. The character, scale a bit more. I feel like 1.1 is actually what we want for the character. So this one's going to be 1.02. It's got to be kind of far behind. And then paper scales the most. 1.3. Now, we have to adjust the pivot point for all three of these nodes. They sit right there. There we go. And then the paper also needs to move. Might need to put some fingers. Okay. Just has to be fingers. Doesn't mean have to be good fingers. Okay. Again, there's going to be some messages, text dialogue popping up on the screen. Okay, stop moving now. So I think pause this right here. Okay, so this is where we should stop. Oh, there we go. Okay, we have two things that need to be hidden by the looks of it. Probably move this over here. This is going to be a great place for exposition. Okay. So there was this little spot. This is where we should hide this layer. And then the motion should not stop until that is there. Okay. Right, there is supposed to be an extra frame. I think we might be able to reuse one of the previous frames, or previously made frames. It was this one. Maybe. Because if I want to do this wild 180 turn and be like, we gotta get out of here, then the music is not really quite there. And I can't open the project that has this soundtrack on it because it is in a super packed computer. Then recently built following Ravir maker making a game called Unforgiven Space in Godot. Doing some really advanced stuff. Interesting. I don't know who that person is, and I'm not familiar with the project. What kind of advanced stuff are they doing? Okay. I think we might be able to just use that frame. Let's see. You know what? We need to make the button be unfocused because that white border is not great. Let's see. Control-Shift-D. Focus. Grab focus, release focus. There we go. Dialogue boxes, words, yada yada yada. Anybody home, yada yada, dialogue boxes. I think we need to get some pans going here. This shot doesn't have any outlines. That's why it looks so weird. If we use the outlines until this point, we should stay consistent and use them everywhere. Chillsman won the thunder. Ah, yes. Oh yeah, the two characters standing in front. Yeah. That was an interesting shot. Okay, so we'll have him reading the letter, getting some exposition. It's definitely much better. Might adjust the background here. There we go. We might want to actually animate the staff hitting the ground. Since we've already done a bunch of multi-layer pan shots, I think that's something we can handle. Okay, not bad. So tiny little bit of exposition there, and the character reading the letter. That's going to be a good point to let us know about what's happening. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to cut this out. Come on. Uh-huh. Okay. Got it. The selection zone kind of disappears after the fact. This is too similar. You know, having made this intro, it actually makes me a little bit more confident that I can pull off a heavily story-based RPG Maker style game that doesn't really focus too much on graphic fidelity or super heavy gameplay, and instead focuses more on story. Because with a story game like that, I think Kameki style tale presentation is going to be very useful. Okay, so that means we're going to do this. We're going to have to get rid of these. Star Citizen and Godot type deal. That is, ooh, interesting. I mean, it sounds about the same as my ambitions to make a post-apocalyptic Fallout-inspired FPS shooter in Godot. God, man. You know, I feel like we should do something like this. Grab that. Maybe grab it just a little bit darker. So this is the floor. Okay, and then take this. Separate it and then make it darker. Simply because these are the crevices. Okay, and then when this comes down, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna try something cheeky here. I'm gonna make a wave. If I can pull it off. There we go. Damn it. Okay. So when the staff comes down, we're going to reveal this layer, and that will show the little shockwave. And, like, you know, if we're being cheeky, let's make another layer. This is going to be the shadow. There we go. Cool. Using an entire image just for this segment is a bit much, but we're not going to be doing that kind of stuff too often. That's fine. We could batch export it and tell it to crop, but I think rearranging things after that is going to be a bit of a pain. Okay, so this right here. Thankfully, when you copy the nodes, it doesn't copy the frames. Background, staff, shadow, and then wave. Except this is not reading, this is staff hit. Okay, so right here, instead of this, and the staff is gonna be we need to reset some of these things. Scale, pivot point, size, sure, but we need to have it stretched. There we go. Gonna place the keyframes. Forgot to place the keyframe for the staff. Going back down. Need a hold frame here. We'll have a nice sound effect of a stick hitting the floor. Okay. Wave. Appears. And now we're gonna make it have a pivot point right there, so that when we scale it up, it scales from that position. So now that we're not on the clock, okay. It does this really weird thing when you enable Bezier curves. It has this phantom motion, even though this is here and this is here. And yet it does this whole going down, going up. It's okay. That's fine. As long as we have that motion within view. Maybe we don't have it rise up at all. Maybe we just do this. Just checking for the keyframes might have left. Okay, it shouldn't be doing that immediately though. First we switch to the shot. Then we give just a moment to realize what the heck's happening. Ah, okay, that could work. A little bit faster though. We will make it linear too. That actually works because there is also sound in the background in the soundtrack. I think it might have been for switching to a different shot, one of these two. Let's see. Which, by the way, we have to disable this shot here anyways. Yes. I think the shot's overstaying its welcome. We'll also have some zooms. Nice. Okay. Yeah, are we good? Are we good? Let's see. We'll do the dialogue boxes tomorrow. Hello, sir. Hello indeed. Hello to you too. Okay, dialogue boxes, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Outlines. Damn it. I need to do it here. Okay, and then fade out into the actual game. Just see if I can plug in the controller. Come on. There we go. And then we got this. I don't have the music system set up for this yet, so we'll just have to work with this. Oh, jeez. No ammo. That's not good. Wait, hold on. I gotta wait. Get rid of this. Okay. Give me. There we go. Perfect. Come and get it. Oh, I forgot that I actually finished programming that. Full. Right, we're gonna have to give the player the ability to upgrade their inventory slots. It's this game, forgot about it. Yep. I made too much progress on this to just leave it on the side. So I figured, okay, I'll churn out some progress here, wrap it up, get it to a playable state, and push it to Steam, and then finish another one of my smaller unfinished projects, just to kind of feel good about me actually being able to finish it. Ooh, I want that. There we go. Balancing is going to be a big thing. Oh, no, you don't. Get over here. Oh, okay. Well, we haven't programmed the game over yet. Remake intro. Okay, so that's done. Main menu, technically. Basically intro. We have to do game over, game win, studio logo. Yeah. Okay, cool. You know what? I think that is it. That's all. We can wrap it up here. Not bad, like 3.5 hours. Cool. All right, fellas. Appreciate the company. I think that's it. We'll get more done tomorrow. Maybe we'll get the tutorial zone done, finished. It is 3 in the morning. Cool. All right. Cool beans. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just